What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the Friday Free for All with Walt Key. Hope you're doing well in this beautiful Friday. We are going to talk today about my favorite subject. Well, probably one of my favorite subjects. It's a tie for second. My favorite subject is actually business planning and calendar management. My second favorite subject is lead generation. Regardless of what you're doing, what business you're running, whether it's real estate, it's lending, it's another business, without customers, you have no business. So today I wanted to share a strategy that I have used for years now. I've taught it to agents, I've taught it to teams, I've taught it to brokerages. It's a very simple strategy to spark great conversations with potential buyer clients. And most people, when I teach it, they look at me funny and they're like, I never done this before. It's absolutely free. It's very easy to do. It will spark conversations that turn into relationships that then turn into closed business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It won't take a ton of time. It's probably going to take about 20, 30 minutes to walk you through this. I'm going to give you a quick presentation on why we do it. And then I'm going to actually show you line by line, screen recorded, how we set this up so you can start executing this as soon as we wrap up the call. With that said, let me do some quick screen share and we'll dive right in. Let me pull this bad boy up for you. Okay, so we're going to talk about generating buyer leads from Facebook Marketplace. Now, if you've ever been in one of my 100K in 100 days challenges, you know that Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups is a core strategy that we teach of the 5 strategies. Today, I want to hone in a little bit more specifically on a key aspect of leveraging Marketplace to generate conversations with potential buyer clients. There are several ways that you can leverage Marketplace to get buyers, to get listings, to do other things. Today, we're talking primarily about how do we spark conversations with buyer leads. So let's dive right in. So most of you already know me. I won't belabor this slide. I know there's a lot of bullets on it. This is me in a nutshell. If you need to reach out to me and you don't already have my contact information, just scan the QR code. That's going to take you to my link tree, my number, my email, my websites, my socials. It's all right there for you. So without further ado, let's just dive right into the content. So we're going to talk about completely free buyer leads from Facebook Marketplace. First, let's just talk a little bit about Facebook Marketplace and why it's an untapped treasure trove of business for you. And these stats are recent. These couple bullets here are 2025 statistics. Facebook has over 3 billion active users a month. Not total, but every month, a revolving door of 3 billion active users. And about a third of that, a little more than a third of that, 1.3 billion users buy something on Facebook Marketplace every single month. Let me say that again. Every single month, over 1.2 billion users are buying something on Facebook Marketplace. Would you like to be in front of an additional 1.23 billion potential customers at no cost to you? I figured you probably would, which is why we're talking about Marketplace. It is absolutely free advertising. It doesn't cost you a dime to put a listing up and market something for sale, be it a product or a service. It's very, very easy. It walks you through step by step. It doesn't require a bunch of marketing experience. You do not have to have a business degree to figure this out. You don't have to have some ad manager helping you run things. We're not talking about paid ads here. We're talking about free marketplace listings. And it allows you to go more directly to the customer that you want to attract. And you'll understand what I mean by that in just a second, right? There are buyers of various products and services. We want to go directly to the people that are buying what we need to be selling, or they want to take part of the service that we are directly providing. And again, super easy and efficient. There's absolutely no reason why every single real estate agent, every single lender should not be doing this to grow their business. Very, very simple stuff. So what are we going to do? We're going to generate buyer leads from Facebook Marketplace by creating a very simple for rent ad in Facebook Marketplace. We're going to match that ad to the particular size, price, shape, etc. of the actual rental comps in your market. We're going to walk through that in live screen so you'll know exactly what I mean by that. I'll show you in my own MLS how we build this out. We want to be very specific here in our marketplace listing that we do not actually have a particular home for rent. We're simply trying to educate home buyers, home renters on becoming home buyers. So the cover image we're going to use, I've built it intentionally to be very, very specific on the value proposition and very, very clear that it's not a house for rent. You'll see that in a minute. We are going to, in the property description, give a highlight of the education we're trying to provide. We're going to talk a little bit about how easy it is for a home buyer to get into their first home, how there's programs in all of the states, really federal and state programs to leverage down payment assistance, grants, things like that. And then we're going to have a very clear call to action, which is simply, hey, shoot me a message, tell me what you rent for. I'll send you a completely free list of homes you can buy for the same price. The Facebook Marketplace is nice because it allows you to renew this ad every 7 days. It'll actually remind you when you open up your marketplace. It'll say, hey, you've got 2 listings to renew. You hit renew, it kicks them up again. It creates a very simple, consistent response. We've got follow-up systems in place here. I'm going to walk you through a scripted interaction on exactly how you can engage with people when they reach out to you. And I will show you exactly how you take a potential renter and turn them into a buyer client that is pre-qualified and ready to shop to purchase a home with you. If you are an agent that loves working with first-time home buyers, if you are a lender that has some great first-time home buyer programs, every agent and every lender should know there are federal programs out there with the really great low down payment loan options. There are state and local down payment assistance programs, their first time home buyer grants, things like that. Because you'll have people reach out and they don't know, right? Renters truly, genuinely, most of them don't know just how easy it is to buy a house. And so we have to educate in order to empower them to make a decision for themselves. So that's what we're doing today. So let's just walk through this. These are some of the graphics that I have built that I use in my for rent ad. Because again, I want to be very clear. I do not have an actual property for rent. I'm trying to educate on how you can buy instead of rent while keeping your monthly payment the same. And so I have a folder of all of these different graphics. I typically only use one or two. It'll be one of the ones you see on the corner. And then I like to throw that second one in just as a second image because it really very snapshot-ish, right? But it just quickly defines the process. It's a fun little graphic. And again, I'll show you exactly how we put those in the marketplace as we go. Now, in the property description, where you would typically talk about the property and it's open flow and it's this many beds and this many baths, and it's got a great backyard, it's fully fenced, bring your dogs, da 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 da, right? We're going to very clearly articulate our value proposition, which is I want to educate you and show you options on how to buy instead of rent. So you can read the property description for yourself if you'd like here. It's pretty straightforward. It just talks about how most people don't understand just how easy it is to buy a house. They don't realize there's programs there to assist them. And if they're interested in learning more, just shoot us a message. Let us know what you rent for. I'll send you a list of all the homes you could buy while keeping your mortgage payment the same as your rent payment. Very, very simple call to action there at the end. Very obvious. We're not trying to rent out a particular house. We are trying to educate and empower people to make purchases. So very simple property description. Again, I have a Word document with this in it, so it's copy paste. You'll see that in a minute when we start putting this into Marketplace. This is an example of a for rent ad I ran. Actually, this has now been years ago. So you'll notice I highlighted a couple parts. One, this was posted 14 weeks ago as the time of the snapshot. And even 14 weeks later, it was still getting hundreds of clicks and saves. People were engaging me on this. I actually did this about 2 weeks before I took my wife on our 20th anniversary cruise. We were in Europe for 2 weeks. We were on a river cruise in multiple countries. It was great. And even without renewing it every 7 days, it was a couple weeks old when I left. This was the result after not renewing it for a couple weeks after being on the market for months. So very, very effective. It's a lot of fun how these get going. Here's another example of one that I ran. You'll notice even more clicks, even older property. These are super easy. You don't need a ton of these, by the way, either. I like to do one in a specific market. If you have a broad market that you service, right? If you have multiple counties, for example, or multiple larger metro areas that you service, you can do 2 or 3 of these, one for this area over here, one for that area over there. But you don't need to inundate Facebook Marketplace with this. This is kind of a onesie twosie, and then you spark conversations with renters looking in the area. So this is just a snapshot of what it will actually look like on Facebook Marketplace once they're posted up and ready to rock and roll. These are some other examples. I've taught some people how to do this, and they said, "Well, I'm gonna test this out. I'm gonna do different sizes and shapes and price points and locations. I'm gonna see which ones work better." So these were actually another agent that I taught how to do this. You'll notice this top one got 512 clicks. This one only got 94. This one got 139. This one got 266. And so all he was doing is kind of A/B testing in his own market, which graphic worked better, what price point worked better at different sizes and shapes, so that he could refine this a little bit. I'm going to show you how you can refine it immediately by leveraging actual market comps from your MLS so that when you build this, it should be right on target for what someone's shopping for already. Now, as this starts flowing, right, almost every time, you'll notice that very first piece on the conversation flow, you're going to see, is this still available? Because that's just a button that people can click. Whether you're posting your own listings, whether you're posting a fellow agent's listings to market, that's another strategy we teach in our challenge. Whether you are posting a FSBOs to generate buyers for them, also something we teach in our challenge, or you're posting for rent. The "is this still available" button is just an automatic button that somebody can push. And so 99% of the time, that's how the interaction is going to start. And so if it starts that way, the next little snippet there is what I copy and paste into my response. Now, I will tell you that the 30-second intro video, as I've refined that a bit, really you're talking about 10 to 15 seconds. It's just a quick recorded video. Leave it on your phone. You don't have to re-record it every time. And it'll just say something like, "Hey, this is Walt Key with Epic Realty. I just wanted to let you know that I am a real person. I am not some Nigerian prince trying to scam you. Can't wait to work with you. Let me know how I can help." Right? Super simple stuff, right? And just save it on your phone. It won't take up a ton of space because it's only 10, 12 seconds. And that way, after you send this note, you can send that video message and you'll get far more engagement because they'll see that you're a real human being and you're not just out there trying to do willy-nilly stuff. Okay. Sometimes, once in a blue moon, you will actually get them to follow the directions and they'll message you directly. "Hey, I rent for 1,800 a month. I rent for 900 a month. I rent for 1,400 a month." Right. In which case you can kind of skip that first part and go right to the next piece. Right. And so we want to ask them these three basic questions. What size of home do you need? Right. And I typically frame that with, what are the minimum bedrooms and bathrooms that you need? What's the maximum monthly payment you're trying to stay at or under? Even if they tell you, "Hey, I rent right now for 1,200 a month." I always like to ask, what's the maximum monthly payment that you'd like to stay at or under? Because they might say, "Well, I'm renting at 1,200, but I've been here for 4 years." 1,900 is really, I don't want to go higher than that. Obviously, there's a big gap between 1,200 and 1,900, so you want to know. And then the third question is, what area or areas are you looking to buy in? And with that information, I can generate a great list of options for you, right? And so then their response might be at least a 3-2. I want to be in this area. This is where I work. This is my kid's school. I want to stay in this county, right? They'll kind of just tell you generally where they want to be. And I want to be at this dollar amount or lower, okay? From that, we can do a little bit of legwork. We can run a mortgage calculator and we can say, okay, well, how much could they buy at current interest rates while keeping their mortgage payment, PITI? You can estimate your taxes and insurance in Bankrate's mortgage calculator. How much is their mortgage payment going to be at $250,000, at $300,000, at $500,000, at whatever the dollar amount, right? And that way you can refine how much purchasing power they have with that monthly payment. Then you can go into your MLS, run a very basic buyer search for them, this area, this size and shape, no more than this purchase price. And in 35, 45 seconds, you can have a list of options that they could potentially buy while keeping their mortgage payment the same or below their rent. Now, understand that, especially here in Florida, but in most states in America, with a quality first-time home buyer program, be that an agent that's working to negotiate seller concessions or a great lender that is bringing a grant program to the table to offset their closing cost, it is absolutely possible to purchase a home for less money out of pocket than first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit. I've done this numerous times now. So that's something that you can explain to them too. Hey, listen, you already have enough money to purchase the house. Most likely, if we do this right, we negotiate correctly, it will cost you less to buy the house than it would to go rent another one of similar size and shape and price, right? So that's just fun to educate them on and help them understand that. And then that last little bit, all right, let me know what piques your interest. You might have 10, 15, 30, 40 different options there. Not every one of those is going to be a good fit for their dynamic. So just tell them to reach back out to you when there's a particular property that matches what they're looking for so you can dig into it a little deeper. And that's will spark the conversation. Now, let's just say for a moment they say, oh, that's these couple properties, 123 Main Street, 2345 Park Street. Those look great. I love more information about them, right? You can go into your MLS, you can dig into the documents, the seller disclosure, you can find some tidbit of knowledge to send back to them to continue to spark that conversation and build a rapport, right? Very easy to do. Now, it's important at this stage in the game that we either introduce them to our lending partner, or if you are the lender, start the conversation about the lending pre-approval process, because that is, as we all know, is a critical first step in home buying. So after they've started engaging with us, they've seen some properties they're interested in, they're like, wow, tell me more about this. We know that they're a serious potential buyer at this point. We're going to transition the conversation over to, hey, listen, if you're serious about buying a home, the first big step, but a super important one, is to get you connected with a great lender who can discuss all of your loan options, get you pre-approved. I have a lending partner who can do that at absolutely no cost to you. As a matter of fact, they can do a soft credit pull. It won't even ding your credit to do the pre-approval application. So there's nothing that you lose by doing it. So you know exactly where you stand. Are you working with a great lender already, or would you like to work with me as a lender? Are you working with a great lender already, or would you like me to introduce you to my go-to lending partner, right? Depending on whether you're an agent or a lender. Both agents and lenders can knock this out of the park all day long, because ultimately the first stage of this is let's get you pre-qualified, right? So if you're a lender, get them pre-qualified, introduce them to your agent partner. If you're an agent partner, introduce them to your lender to get them pre-qualified, right? It's a beautiful partnership, and we're both trying to accomplish the same goal, right? 99% of the time, I would argue that it's 100% of the time, but I'm sure there's going to be that one off. As soon as I say 100, someone's going to prove me wrong. 99% of the time, right? They don't have a lender. Understand that they 15 minutes ago, before they bumped across your ad, they were looking for rentals. They weren't trying to buy. They didn't know they could buy. They had no idea how the process worked. So almost every single time they're going to say, no, I don't have a lender. I'd love to work with you, or I'd love to work with your lender. And that's when we're going to transition into, hey, great. I would love to make a connection for you. What's your best cell phone number? I'll make a text introduction right now. They'll give you a call, talk you through the process, super easy, right? If you have a secure pre-approval link, you can say, hey, I'll text you right now. I'll include the link for you to get everything started. If you have any questions, let me know, right? But that's the transition into, hey, is this still available? Walk them through this refinement and sorting process, if you will, right? If they don't get back to you, they're not serious. If they get back to you briefly, but they never engage with you on anything more, they're not serious. So that just like any lead generation, there's some filtering and sorting that takes place, but it's very easy and free to do because it's all through Facebook Messenger up to this point. And then we're going to transition into phone number, pre-approval process. Let's get cracking. Now, once you've got the pre-approval process moving, you've engaged with them, right? You've introduced them to your lender partner, or if you are the lender, you've sent them your pre-qualification link so that you can get them pre-qualified before you introduce them to your agent partner. Now you just start doing what you do, right? If you're an agent, set them up on an MLS search filter, talk about the different properties and which ones might be the best fit, and start talking about setting up some showings once you're pre-approved, right? If you're the lender partner and you've sent them the pre-approval application, right? Do your process, follow up with them. This is where you're at. This is what you qualify for. By the way, I have a phenomenal realtor I'd love to connect you with. They can help you with the physical search of the properties, going inside and touring to find the right one. I work with them to help buyers buy. They're my agent partner. I'm the lending partner. It's one happy team, right? You just start moving and shaking, and now you've got a new pre-qualified buyer client. This requires $0, very little time, and all of your screening. You weed out the tire kickers very, very quickly with that first paragraph, which is, hey, this is not a property that's actually for rent. I'm trying to educate buyers on the home buying process. Is that what you're looking for? If they're like, nope, sorry, I was looking for something to rent, Right? In 15 seconds, we've screened them out. So very simple to do. I'm going to walk you through exactly. I'm going to unshare my screen. I'm going to reshare. I'm going to walk you through exactly how we do this. So if you've got questions, drop them in the chat, save them for the end. But I want to walk you through the actual nuts and bolts of putting this together because I never want to leave you with just knowledge. I want to leave you with something you can execute on. So let me unshare my screen for just a moment. We're going to jump back into screen share and we are going to rock this out. So let me close the notifications and whatnot. So we'll jump into my Facebook in just a second. We're going to start our process in our local MLS. Okay. So this is my Northeast Florida local MLS. I'm going to go quick search or whatever your search might be called. I want to do residential rental. So in this particular one, it's called residential lease. Yours might be called rental or whatever it's called. I'm going to pick the area that I primarily want to build the ad for. So just for the sake of argument, I'm going to use the Middleburg area. So I'm just going to grab 5-mile radius around that spot. Now understand with rentals, because it's usually 12-month or more lease, you might have to set your closed time frame to a little bit more than you would if you were running comps for a closed house, right? Because houses close every day, rentals lease every year. So you might take this back a couple years just so that you know you've got at least one renewal in process. And now we're going to look at basic parameters, right? We know that the average home in America, the most statistical proper size is a 3-2. So we're just going to go 3-4 on the bedroom count. We'll do 2 to 3 on the bathroom count. Living area, I'm just going to do 1,500 to 2,000. I'm just getting a snapshot, right? And that's going to trim us down to 185. That's still quite a bit. So I'm going to actually just grab my radius here. For now, we're going to pull this in a bit. There we go. 50 options. That's not bad to look at. Again, then we're going to move through this really fast. Property type, I don't want apartments and things like that. Again, I'm trying to help somebody buy a house. So we're going to go single family residence. Now we've got 17 options. That's something I can do very quick snapshot on. We're going to pull up the list of properties and we're just very quickly going to look through this. We're not going to get super crazy into the weeds here. All I really want to know is beds and bath size. What's the rental price per square foot? That's really what I'm looking for. So if you notice just on the single line view of the 17, most are 3-2s. Some of them are 4-2s. Living area, I've got square footage right there. Most of these are between 1,580 and 1,900. So I'm going to call that about 1,800 square feet as the average. And then we've got between about 1,800 to 2,000. So roughly a dollar and change per square foot. And I'm looking, I could go through it. I'm not going to do it on this call because I don't want to waste everybody's time. But when you're doing this, I recommend that you open them up, look at the photos, see the condition, just kind of break out that dollar per square foot on the rental market. Obviously, the lower square footage is renting for a little lower, generally speaking. So I'm just gonna quickly snapshot this and say an 1,800 square foot 3-2 in this area of Middleburg, Florida, rents for roughly 18 to 2,000 a month. Okay, so that's the metric I'm going to use as I build my for rent ad. 1,800 square feet at, let's call it 1,900 a month, just as a ballpark. Now that I've got those actual physical in my market comps, I'm going to go to Facebook. I'm going to click on the little marketplace button at the top. I'm going to go create new listing. Now, you'll notice that I practice what I preach. You're going to see that I have quite a bit of listings on Facebook Marketplace. Most of these are residential real estate listings, either my own, fellow agents that have allowed me to market their property, for sale by owners that I work with and market their property. This is a fantastic way to do business. But we're going to create a new listing, home for sale or rent. And that's going to pull up the template on how you fill this out and how you get started. Very, very simple. I'll walk you through this. It'll only take a second once my computer decides to wake up. There we go. Now, add photos, right? We're going to go just briefly. Let me jump into my folder where I have this housed. You will build your own, or I'm happy to send you mine if you'd like. I want to use that one and that one. Remember, I told you I had the graphic templates already built. So I'm going to move that one there. So this is going to be my cover photo. Why are you still renting? Let me help. Message me your current monthly rent payment. I'll send you a free list of the homes you could buy for that amount. And then the next picture, the home buying process. That's it. That's all we're doing for photos. We're going to say for rent. Rental type is a house. Number of bedrooms 3, number of bathrooms 2. We just said that an 1,800 square foot house rents roughly for 1,900 a month. Now let's just grab one that's close to the 1,800 and 1,900 a month range. I'm going to click on the map. You'll understand what I'm doing in just 1 second. Okay, so clearly this area here rents pretty well. There's a lot of rentals in this market. So I'm going to use Raven Hill Drive as my address because there are clearly lots of rentals in here. I have to put some kind of address in the system. So we don't have to have an actual physical number. We're just going to put Raven Hill Drive, Middleburg, Florida. Boom. Now for the property description, remember we talked about how we are going to use the property description that educates on how the home buying process works. We're not going to talk about 3-2, 1,800, big backyard, da da da. We're not going to do that because that doesn't help us educate. So in the rental description, I'm copying and pasting this straight from the script that I already have. Okay. I'm just going to drop, the only thing I'm going to add is drop my name in here. Okay, so this is it, right? The whole property description. Many people don't realize just how easy it is to start their home buyer journey. Many great programs for first-time home buyers and those primary residents, little or no money down, grant programs, da 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 da. If you'd like a free list of all the homes you could potentially own while keeping your mortgage payment the same as your rent, shoot me a quick message. Tell me what you're renting for now. Happy to send you the list. Boom, we're done. That's it. That's the whole property description. Then for the square footage, we talked about it being about 1,800 square feet. Date available, we have to put something in this market. So just kick it forward a little bit. Laundry and unit, garage parking, central AC. We're not going to add anything else really. You can add if you want to do cat friendly, dog friendly. I don't really care about those. That's it. Like very, very simple. We're just throwing some basic parameters in there because there's some parameters that you have to mark. That's the entire thing. Next. Now, Marketplace will let you add your marketplace listing into an assortment of Facebook groups, up to 20 different local area Facebook groups. So if, for example, you had groups that you were already a member of that were Florida homes for rent or sale, or Middleburg buy sell trade, or Clay County, Florida, because that's where Middleburg sits, Clay County, Florida online yard sale. You could go through this and you could add those into there. So Northeast Florida, that's where I'm at. Middleburg buy sell trade. I'm just going to blow through this really fast. I'm probably not going to add a ton. I just want you to understand how that works. We could scroll down this list. I have a bunch of, I recommend you be in tons of groups because these groups will spark additional engagement and interaction even outside of just the marketplace listing itself. So it's absolutely worth doing. Just want to click Clay County, which is where Middleburg sits. So I'll grab that one. That's it. I'm just going to do a couple and then publish. That's it. Couple pictures, very basic property description, educating people on the buying process. Call to action is reach out and hit me up if you want more information. Done. And what happens is, as I'm in Facebook Marketplace, and let's say I'm looking for a property to rent, I hit property rentals, and I say, well, I know, because I'm a renter, right? I know that most rentals in my market run between 1,700 and 2,000 a month. I need at least 3 bedrooms. I need at least 2 bathrooms. I would like something in the range of 1,750 to 1,950 square feet because I know what fits my family dynamic, right? And then that sorts and sifts down. Now, I'm obviously right now I have a big swath here around Keystone Heights. Let's just assume I was looking at Middleburg, which is just outside of Keystone Heights. And we don't need to go quite that big of 20 miles. Apply. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to search Facebook Marketplace and it's going to show me all of the rentals that match my criteria. And I meant to cap that too. There we go. And I'm just waiting for Marketplace to catch up because I have my Zoom on and a couple different things that are open there. So it's taking a minute to pull up. Oh, it says there's no data available. Well, that's not true, but let's bump it out a little bit. I think Facebook is just hiccuping because I know for a fact there are rentals in the market that match these criteria unless I threw something wonky in there. No, that looks good. Let's kick that to 1700, 2000. Yeah. I'm not sure why Facebook Marketplace is telling me there aren't none, but that's okay. It's doing something wonky right now. I'm not super concerned about that. You don't have to narrow it down to that degree. But basically what happens is I'm in the system and I'm actively shopping for a rental. And because we built our for rent ad to match the parameters that the average renter in our market is looking for, they find the ad, they shoot us a message, and they say, hey, Walt, I saw your thing. Is that still available? I would love to rent for X amount, right? Whatever the dollar amount might be for you. And I don't have any local here. These are all actual residential listings. These aren't rentals, but you see how you have these conversations as you post on here. Um, you just start engaging with people, right? You just start asking great questions, right? Now, some of these will be tire kickers, right? And that's okay. Some people will be like, I never mind. I thought it was a rental. Or some people will never get back to you. That's okay. Like this is one from my recent listing where a gal reached out. Hey, we're interested. We're coordinating a time to go look at a property that I put on the market. Same process for rentals. You just sift and you screen through them. That's it. Now, absolutely anyone can do this. Let me unshare my screen for a minute. Absolutely anyone can execute this strategy. There's no genius IQ level requirements to this, right? I just walked you through in 32 minutes, give or take, exactly how to do it, why to do it, how it works. And I just put one live on the market in 10 minutes to show you. This will spark conversations that you can either introduce to your lender to get qualified to be a buyer, or if you are the lender, you can qualify and then introduce to your agent partner to help them shop. Everybody wins, right? The buyer gets to buy a house instead of rent. They didn't even know it was an option. This is great. They love it. The agent gets to close a great deal with the buyer. The lender gets to close a great loan with the buyer. Everybody gets what they want out of this. And all we're doing is sharing value, sharing a little bit of knowledge, and we're educating people so that we can empower them to make great decisions. In this particular case, they're making a great decision to buy a house instead of continuing to rent and pay their landlord's mortgage. So that is it. It is really that simple. I'll drop the tools and resources, right? The property description, the graphics, all of that I will put into the Google Drive that I house. And if you want it, reach out to me and grab it and go crush this. Go knock it out of the park.